Dancey was quite a tall man, extremely well built with gray eyes and short brown hair. He was also, without a doubt, one of the most powerful warriors who ever lived, and one of the creations Schnickelfritz was most proud of. Unfortunately for Dancey, he never knew either of these things before the massacre. Schnickelfritz had created Dancey as the perfect warrior to make Jimmy pay for taking the last box of his favorite cereal, and after failing to do so was sent to the Shadow Realm by the combined efforts of Jimmy, Billy, Corey, and Schnickelfritz. The Shadow Realm was arguably the worst place Dancey could have found himself at that point in time. The only emotions that can grow in the realm are confusion, sadness, and hatred, all three of which Dancey was subjected to. The involvement of Schnickelfritz was what baffled Dancey the most. Why would his own father, who created him to exact revenge on Jimmy and his friends, help them to stop him from doing so? The only answer that made any sense to Dancey was shame. In his eyes, Schnickelfritz was ashamed of Dancey, and Dancey absolutely hated this idea. He now resented Schnickelfritz for having created him, and Dancey decided that he must pay for that crime. Fortunately for Dancey, a way to put that plan into motion quickly came through Barry's first attempted use of the Spectral Sapphire. The failed use had caused a slight tear to form in the Shadow Realm, just large enough and just for a long enough time for Dancey to enter it, and after coming out the other end, Dancey found himself back at home, along with some creatures from the Shadow Realm. With a small army now at his command, Dancey swiftly brought home under siege, trapping Schnickelfritz and all of Jimmy's friends in their house, and he would have gotten the revenge he thought he so deserved if it weren't for the help Schnickelfritz had found. Herr Sturm had found Schnickelfritz hopping between realms, searching for supplies to help Jimmy and the others, and after hearing about Dancey and his army, volunteered to help. Sturm quickly vanquished Dancey's army, and after some struggle transported Dancey into a safer realm. This put Dancey into an even deeper state of confusion, his own motivations now coming into question. After a few days of pondering, Dancey determined that maybe revenge wasn't the best way to go about his life, and perhaps he should talk things out with Schnickelfritz. Unfortunately, by the time Dancey found him, he was already dead, another victim of the desolate massacre. From that point onward, Dancey vowed to do what he could to spread the ideals of friendship his father had grown fond of, and in his journey to do so, he had found himself in the underground settlements of the Zemley district. During his time there, Dancey became known as the greatest miner in Zendian memory, easily moving the amount of materials the entire district took a week to mine in a single day, and anyone he met on the job would agree that he was an even greater friend. After he had found a glowing green stone among some hardened Zendian plasma in one of the Zemley district's deepest caverns, his powers increased tenfold, single-handedly bringing the Zemley district into a golden age of commerce. That is, until one day he sensed something break into his home. Nearly immediately, he rushed to grab his stone, but he was too late. A purple creature had taken it, and all he could do was watch in shock as it tore through the ceiling with its mechanical fists, digging upwards to the surface. Coming back to his senses, Dancey grabbed his giant hammer and gave chase to the thief.